This tutorial is designed to show students how to generate a scatter plot of one variable against another. What we will use is yearly data from 1990 to 2007 on GDP and on the investment share as a percentage of GDP. Scatter graphs can be used to show a relationship between two variables and to see if one exists. To insert a scatter graph, we simply select Insert and then choose a scatter graph from the drop-down menu in the chart options. The scatter graph we wish to select is a scatter graph with only markers. That is, it does not contain any lines connecting the points. When we select this, a blank chart area will appear. We simply right-click on this and select Data. Here we want to add data like we did when we generated a line graph in tutorial 1. However, here the horizontal axis is grayed out. We cannot choose or use this option. So we select Add from our Legend Entry series, and it gives us the option to enter a series name, an X value and a Y value. The series name here will be GDP and investment share. The series X values we select will be the investment share. The X values will put the variable along the horizontal bottom axis down here. So we select our investment share data, and then we select our Y values. So this goes along our vertical Y axis here. And for this we will select our data for GDP, so from cell B2 to cell B19. We select OK, and again select OK. This provides us with a scatter plot of GDP and investment share. Now what we can see is that most of our scatter plots are gathered up here in the right hand corner of our graph, and it makes it quite difficult to assess if there's any relationship which exists between them. To make this easier, what we can do is change the scaling on our axes. So if we select the horizontal axis and right click, we can select Format Axes. When we enter this, we can change certain properties associated with the axis. So for example, we can select the minimum value, change it from the automatic, which is 0, to a fixed value. Here we will choose 25, as the lowest investment share figure we have is 26. We select Close, and what we can observe now is that we have a clear display of our scatter graph. We've changed the axis, so it no longer starts at 0, but starts at 25. We can now see a much better relationship between the data and makes it much easier to pick out whether there is a relationship. The next thing we will do is change the layout so that we can add in our axis titles. So again, we'll select a layout which gives us the options to put in an axis on the Y, a label on the Y axis and on the X axis. So our axis title here on the Y axis will be GDP per capita, and our axis title for the X axis will be investment share. We want to also give our graph a title, so in this case we will call it Figure 2, and a scatter plot of GDP per capita and investment share. We'll also delete this label here, as it is no longer necessary. We have GDP per capita and investment share, and we can see what looks to be a positive relationship, sloping upwards from left to right. To get a better indication of this relationship, we can select any of our plots and right-click on them. And what we want to do is add a trend line. When we go into the trend line options, we wish to select a linear trend line. So we select Linear and click Close. This provides us with a straight line linear plot generated using ordinary least squares between our data points. And we can see that there appears to be a positive relationship. So the higher the investment share, the higher the GDP per capita. This concludes this tutorial. Further tutorials can be found on the EC3115 Blackboard site.